Manju has to mute. Maybe I can do it. See, let me see. Okay, it is mute now. All right. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay. There are somebody is not mute yet. I think Joe is, are you mute, Joe? Now you are, okay. Because some background noise was coming. So, we are on verse 24. And basically just to remind everybody of what's happening here is Krishna Bhagwan is giving his own example now to Arjun that why he should fight the war and basically do your swadharma. And swadharma is a very important word because each one's swadharma can be different. There is one thing called dharma, one is swadharma. So the dharma is the highest dharma, which is for us, it's like consciousness is the highest dharma. But for our daily activities, swadharma is very important. And swadharma is the one which takes us to the higher dharma. So I'm just kind of giving that connection. And the context over here was that he gave all the logic to Arjun why he should fight the war, starting from the highest, where we are eternal and all. I gave him the Atmagyan, but obviously everything is not going to sink in suddenly. But then he started coming down to the worldly level, and then he gave all the different, he showed how this Sansar Chakra is happening and all that. We studied all that. Then Arjun's mind was, okay, that may be good in those olden days. What about, is this theory well tested? And then he gave the example of Janak and all that. Remember Janak Adi? Then Arjun's question was, okay, Janak to bahut purane hai. Is abhi bhi ye lagu hoti hai kya? Then he gave his own example. So that's where we were. So in the last verse that we did, he was saying that if I don't engage in action, then and if I relax, then men would follow my path. So with the same theme, Krishna Bhagwan is not satisfied yet to tell him. That was one point. And the second thing I want to bring up is in verse 24, he's actually slowly revealing his own divinity now. But he's giving it slowly in doses. He's not suddenly saying, I am that consciousness, or I'm connected with that I am the consciousness kind of thing. He's not telling him like that because Arjun ko dhire dhire shraddha bhad rahi hai. We already know that Arjun surrendered to him. Yeah? Okay, I think somebody's thing is not. Just check, everybody check their mute and unmute. So, in chapter 1 में तो उसने बिल्कुल भी surrender नहीं. Chapter 2 में surrender किया उसने. And he said, you are my guru, I am your shishya, please tell me what is the best for me and all that. And now in this verse 24, थोड़ी सी झलक देते हैं अपनी. पहले उन्होंने ये कह दिया कि भाई पिछले 1-2 वर्सेस में कि सेल्फ रियलाइज होने के बाद भी करता है इंसान काम, मुझे ही देख लो. So he's telling that, look, I am there already. There is nothing in these 3 worlds that I cannot get. And by not doing something, I'm not going to lose anything, but I do it for Lok Sangrah. तो वो बोल दिया. अब इस verse में, and then also he also said कि another very important thing that has come through all these verses is that जो श्रेष्ठ पुरुष करते हैं, वो सभी follow करते हैं. And we may think we don't do that, but literally unconsciously we do that. And then in the world, everybody is not self-confident about, hey, I know what to do. You always look up to somebody, and you follow them. If you look up to them, you follow what they do, because you think that they are doing it right, I can do it too. So from that perspective, Krishna Bhagwan said that, Krishna Bhagwan himself had a very important role in the society. And so even though like Kauravas did not like, some of them didn't like Krishna Bhagwan, but they still respected him inside their heart. They were always scared of him because they knew that he's for dharma, and whatever he does has a tremendous weight and value. So that kind of stature he had in the society, talking from the worldly point of view. So and they considered him as a wise person. So he's saying that if a wise person behaves in certain way, others will start behaving in the same way, and that's why you have to work. Not for your own benefit or that you're going to gain something and all, but for that reason is a great reason for us to work. Okay. And then we see that in like, because we are reading Chinmayananji's commentary, Chinmayananji's own life, towards the end, he got very sick. He had a heart condition, and his heart was working at a very, very low percentage, and he literally had to be on oxygen and all that. And I didn't have the good fortune of listening to him directly, but a lot of our other members did, and they are witness. And also we read into different books and all that he worked till the end. No matter how sick he was, he taught Gita every day of his life. And sometimes people would tell him, because a lot of doctors were his devotees, and they would say, Swamiji, now you don't need to do that. He's saying, no, I do. And he said that if I sit down and not do it, the whole mission will start resting. So he till the end, and that gives us so much inspiration. And then I was telling you about that movie of Vivekananda. I think, Vandana, you have to mute yourself.
Yeah.
So Vivekananda's movie, everybody knows that I think he lived up to 38, which is so young. There's nothing in today's world. And towards the end, couple years, he knew his body was completely failing. And in the movie they show that he says even to one of the person who was taking care of him, he told him, he's saying, in this life, I'm not going to enjoy like the bodily comfort, like, having a healthy body. He already knew it, but he was working till the end, constantly giving. And even Yogananda, it is like that. And in fact, Yogananda, some of the devotees are here in his biography and all that. It's there that he said that I want to leave this world sitting up, literally, like talking, And here Smriti ji is nodding. And so imagine the inspiration we get from that. That's where this verse is bringing out, that last minute tak you're doing lok sangraha ke liye, that's kind of thing. So, and even Krishna Bhagwan and all these people, Yogananda or, Vivekananda, they had nothing to gain. They had already reached the highest. But they're still doing it because they want other people. And they, at the cost of their body, they will do it because they know the body is nashwar anyway, So that's one thing. And now the second aspect of this particular verse 24 is that he's talking as Ishvara now. And what Ishvara is, as his role in the universe as the controller, sustainer, and annihilator or dissolver. So that's what he reveals over here, and also like what we call it as karma phaladata. So what is a karma phaladata is, giving the results. And when we, studied a little bit of karma yoga in chapter 2 and all, we know that our right is to work only. The result is given by the higher. because the higher knows everything, every aspect of it. He knows how to give the correct result. In our arrogance, we might feel, oh, I did this, so I should get this. No. That's just our extremely limited vision. What we need, what we deserve, and all that, it comes from the higher. So as a karma phala data and also as an antaryami, meaning, what does antaryami mean? The inner controller. And we don't think about these things, but in our own body, there are hundreds of activities going on, and we are not aware of it at all. Who is doing that? The higher intelligence is doing that. Where is the higher intelligence coming from? Coming from the consciousness. So as that role, there is a certain law which is governing the outside physical world and the inside world. So the inside world, 5 minutes you sit down and think, and you will be amazed that we don't know anything about our body, what is happening, how the blood is flowing, how the food is getting digested, and how heart is beating. And talk about machines. Heart and lungs and liver and all that work for almost 100 years or 90, 80 years, amazing. And even my arm, I'm like, it's healing inside now. What it was the first week, it has come a long way. And I was telling my son, I said, God, our machine is the most miraculous machine, that how it just heals and all. Who's doing all that? We never think about it. Doctor just did the surgery and all, but there is an internal healing going on, and that's what is the inner controller. So Krishna Bhagwan is hinting that look, उसके लिए भी काम करना पड़ता है. हम लोग ऐसे सोचते नहीं हैं, मगर like one of the Swami was saying that suppose Bhagwan takes a holiday, I'm too tired now, I'm not going to give the karma for क्या होगा हम सबका, So he's giving an example that how outside and inside both, everything is going on in a very controlled manner, harmonious manner. And if I don't do this, the whole cosmos will get disintegrated. So society will get disintegrated because I'm not doing certain things in the society, and outside it will get disintegrated. And then there is a hint over here about, it's called Sankar, Varna Sankar, which is like admixture of the caste word. I don't like to use that word, caste system, because it was introduced by the British, the word. It's a Varna Vyavastha. Usme sab gadbad ho jayega. So Swamiji in his commentary is going to also mention that some people can take this as a very wrong understanding. And I don't want to go too much in detail about it, because the Varna Vyavastha, what it is going to come in chapter 4. And with the young children and all, that was my favorite topic, because even I was a victim of misunderstanding about what this Varna Vyavastha is. Most of us are, unless you properly read Bhagavad Gita, you don't know what it is. And people take it so negative. In fact, our own children, they face that question from all the non-Indians that, hey, you guys have caste system is so bad. It's a misunderstanding. Okay. So I just give you a little hint what over here, and then when we go in chapter 4, we will study in detail. So basically, the different castes are nothing but a certain makeup of mind. So just like there is a outside law in the universe doing all the physics का and chemistry का law चलता है ना, वैसे ही inner world का भी एक law है. Okay, that certain gunas behave certain way. That we already know. That, when it is a sattvic guna, then, it's like people are very calm, quiet, and things like that. And when there is a rajasic, then मैं ये भी कर लूँ, वो भी कर लूँ, competition, ये सब है rajasic में. और tamasic में, I don't want to get up even, I'm so lazy, and things like that, right? So there is a inner controller में मतलब psychological laws भी हैं. और अगर कृष्ण भगवान ने बोला कि अगर मैंने काम करना छोड़ दिया तो वो psychological law सब गड़बड़ हो जाएगा उसमें. And also, if your mind is made up of a certain psychology, and you are fit to do certain kind of job, but with the confusion you start taking some other job, it's a disaster. For that, we don't need to be rocket scientists. We already know कि एक डॉक्टर को इंजीनियर बना दो जी, you know, क्या करेगा वो, गड़बड़ हो जाएगा सारा, vice versa, you know. So that's what he means by वर्ण संकर. It's not like कि भाई उससे उसकी शादी हो जाएगी तो क्या होगा, ये है वो. That's not the connotation over here. It is more like that kind of वर्ण संकर, kind of problem in picking up the right job, behaving the right way, and all that is mentioned in this kind of next verse. Okay, and then the one more point is that everybody requires a ideal to work at. Okay, means we look up to, especially in our younger days, it's a lot more important, you know, looking up to. So like one of the Swami was saying that we have so many like this history and Puranas and stories and Mahabharata and Ramayana, so many Rishi, Muni, and we learn so many lessons from them, you know, and we always give their example. Valmiki ji ne aisa kiya aur unhone waisa kiya. So we have so many ideals. But if those people stop behaving in a certain way, wo ideal ka bhi problem ho jayega. So Krishna Bhagavan is giving his own example that when people don't have ideals, then they pick up anybody as their ideal, which may not be the good people. And we always worry about, you know, teenagers doing that, you know, and if we, you know, how they pick up crazy ideals and then they get into so much trouble and all that. So from that perspective also, the people who are in a position to influence other people, they need to continue to work in a proper way. And Arjun, you are a person who so many people look up to. So just like I am doing, you start doing, you know. So that's what it's going to bring out in this one. And the other thing is, one more point is that all these people that we look up as ideal, they kind of chart the road for us. Hey, do it this way. And then it's easy for us to follow them. And the example one of the Swami gave was so beautiful that you go in a jungle, you don't know which way to go, what to do. But if somebody has already gone on that path, that wo ek pagdandi ban jati hai na, like that path, we just follow on that pagdandi. It becomes so easy for us. And in San Diego, there are hundreds of trails, you know, and there are already pagdandis there, so we know. Nahi to sabhi log ho jayenge yahan wahan. So that's the whole thing, that why it's so important that, you know. Okay. So now the conclusion is that for a wise person, it is advisable that even if you don't want to work for your own benefit, you work for the benefit of the society. That word lokasangra is going to come again in the, like, not this one, but no, it is going to come. 25 में आता है, but they're all connected, you know. So this is a special advice given to the wise men, and Arjun is considered a wise man. Okay, so before we go and read this, anybody has any question on it? Comment, question, or add a point? No? Either you can just raise your hand so I know, or you can unmute and start talking. Okay, so I'm assuming no one has anything. So here is a verse. So
I have one comment.
Yes, of course.
It's in there, but when I was watching this Krishna Geeta, at this time when Krishna says, if I don't do any work, the तीनों लोकों में जो है वो मतलब example he has to set and do the work. So that time Dhritarashtra tells Sanjay, what is he talking? He's talking like he's the God. So this is the first time he recognized that this is really God revealing himself.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
That's what I said कि यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा hint दे दिया और अर्जुन को वो doses में दे रहे हैं. Okay?
Right.
Chapter 4 में और रिवील करेंगे, पर जब पूरा अर्जुन को मालूम पड़ेगा when विश्व रूप दर्शन मिलता है उसको 11 में, जब वो खुद मांगता है, पूछता है, उसको कंफ्यूजन होता है कि भाई you are saying the whole world is in you, can you please show me, if you think I'm worthy of this, please show me how the whole world is in you.
Right.
That's the time. Okay. It's very exciting then. I think the later chapters are very exciting, very dramatic. So everybody got the verse 24? Ready with it? I'm going to chant. Utsideyurime lokaha nakuryam karma chedaham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyami ma prajaha. Utsideyuhu is world would perish. Ime, these, lokaha, world. No, not. Kuryan, would be. Karma, action. Chetaha, if. Aham, I. Sankarasya, of confusion of caste. Cha, and. Karta, author. Syam, would be. Upahanyam, would destroy. Imaha, these. Praja, beings. Okay, who would like to read today? Sheilaji.
Can you anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you pretty clearly.
Anyhow,
Carry on.
this world would perish if I don't perform action. I would be of confusion of caste and would destroy these beings.
So here,
Should I go?
I just wanted to, this verse, because, it's good to know exactly what Krishna Bhagwan's words are. I explain many aspects, so you will get it. The three world would perish if I did not perform action. Because then I told you, internal world, यहाँ की दुनिया और पूरा cosmos. I would be author of confusion of caste. This is a little bit tricky, but I told you how the psychological laws are there. And if for any society to work in harmony, you need the psychological laws to work properly. We need to understand what it is, and उसके हिसाब से हमको स्वधर्म मिलता है एक्चुअली. तो हमको खुद का जो स्वधर्म है ना, जो मेरी डेली नियत कर्मा जिसको हमने बोला, डेली ड्यूटीज जो हमारी होती है, वो हमारे साइकोलॉजिकल मेकअप से शुरू होती है. Certain duties everybody has to do, don't worry about them, but what is my main job in the world kind of thing, that comes from that. So if Krishna Bhagwan doesn't work, then confusion of caste will happen, and the world will destroy all the beings. That's what it is. Okay, padhiye aage, Sheila ji.
If I don't perform action, it will not be conducive to the harmonious progress of the universe, and the entire superstructure of our scientific laws and the conclusion will tumble down. The universe is not chaos; it's a cosmos. Lawlessness is not noticed anywhere in the workings of the cosmic forces.
So now remember, this is a very important thing. When we are, as a Geeta student, we have to expand our vision. You cannot look at if you have a very narrow vision, सब कुछ crazy लगेगा दुनिया में. यहाँ पे fire हो रही है, यहाँ पे pandemic हो रहा है, यहाँ पे सब, the whole world is crashing down, ये है, वो है. But if you look at it from a higher and higher perspective, everything happens for a reason, to create a balance. That's the thing. So and what certain things that happen, it is people's sarvajanik karma, they call it, collective karmas are, and we know that how much we have plundered the earth and all that. So getting lashbacks, to create the balance, waking up people, So it's saying that the universe is not a chaos, it's a cosmos, That's what we have to remember. And lawlessness is not noticed anywhere in the working of the cosmic forces. And the best example I can think of is all those people who are sitting in that space station up there. And there are about 10 or 15 people who walked on the moon. You ask them how the earth looks. They said it looks so harmonious, like a jewel, that they completely, all of them have become spiritual in their understanding of it. And the people who are, because I watch a lot of those shows, or they are real things actually, that they said that the atmosphere is such a thin layer on the earth. It is so delicate that we have to protect it, because that's what creates. And when we are sitting on the earth and thinking selfish, some of the people, with their factories and this and that, my prophet and that's it. They don't think of that, but जितना लोग अपना vision expand करेंगे, वो cosmos का maintains रहेगा. Then the nature doesn't have to punish us, but it's very hard. But more people study Bhagavad Gita, better for the earth, I think. That's what it is. Go ahead, Sheila ji.
Okay. The phenomenal happenings, the movement of the planets, the rhythmic dance of the season, the music of creation, the law of colors are all happening in harmony. Implicitly obeying the law governing them all. And this law is otherwise called the mighty power of nature or God. Lord Krishna, as an embodiment of Godhood, is declaring here, if I don't perform work, the world would perish. Scientifically viewed, this declaration is not a superstition, absurdity acceptable only to the blind believers, but rather a statement of fact which even the microscope gazes cannot honestly deny.
So just Swamiji is just saying, okay, you don't believe in God, you don't nature में तो believe सभी करना पड़ेगा ना, and whatever observation of the nature and all that, and the more they kind of see through the telescope or the microscope, दोनों तरफ से, they see harmony, tremendous harmony, and so that's what he's saying. You cannot deny it. So like I was saying, the Vedanta goes in hand with science. Go ahead. I think there's some noises coming here. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The Lord represents not only the law governing the outer world of things and beings, but he is also the law that governs the inner world of thoughts and emotion. The whole human society is divided into 4 castes, varnas, by the Hindu saints and the sages on the basis of the individual's mental temperaments. In the case of law governing the inner psychological temperaments is not functioning strictly, there will be confusion in behavior and instability in character. The general translation, admixture of races, for Varna Shankara, contains a mischievous suggestion for the modern students, in much as they would directly understand it as a divine sanction for the caste-based tyrannies that are going on in their modern decent Hindu society.
It's called modern decadent Hindu society.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, he's just saying, which I already mentioned, that some people might read that and then they will, the caste tyrannies that are going on in India, So they will just say, oh, Krishna Bhagwan ने ऐसा किया, ये वो ऐसे कुछ भी. मतलब misunderstand करने वाले तो कुछ भी करेंगे. So, but basically, I already explained to you, just like there are law governing the physics, chemistry, the universe, and the society, the same way the inner controller and the psychological laws. They are all work in certain pattern that are necessary, and that's what he's referring to when he said Varna Sankar. And it will get more and more clarified. We'll clarify it when we go in chapter 4, what exactly it is. Okay? So,
Umaji, I just had a question and I still can't grasp. I mean, I read it before also. Why did Lord Krishna bring the caste system at this point? What was he trying to clarify? I mean, I can understand the inner, going into inner, how he's working through us, and he's showing Arjuna, that he is the supreme or the consciousness. But what is he trying to tell Arjuna by showing the caste system at this point?
See, the caste system, if you remember, it has come in chapter 1 also.
Yeah,
Arjun mentioned that ये war होएगा तो admixture of caste Varna Sankar हो जाएगा.
Okay. Taking that point.
So the caste system the word, let's say call it Varna Vyavastha, because caste systems, very negative connotation is there. Anyway, for our class, we know that it is Varna Vyavastha. So that was already brought up in chapter 1. And now they're bringing it up again, because when we are studying Bhagavad Gita, it is a very comprehensive thing. We are studying together, outside, inside world together. That's why, and the context he was bringing was that the law governing, that's all he's trying to say over here, that he is the inner controller. If you, now I have to jump a little bit, but that's okay, because a lot of you have studied Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 4, he says, I am the author of Varna Vyavastha, literally, he says, mentions that. किसी को नेगेटिव लेना हो ना, तो बोले कृष्ण भगवान ने बनाई है 4 कास्ट, एकदम रॉन्ग में ले जाएगा. और यहाँ पर ये कहते हैं कि I will become, let me see the word, confusion of caste, sankarasa. I will become responsible for it, because he's responsible to make those psychological laws. And I will tell you how the law works, okay? Suppose अभी न्यूटन है, huh? Newton was sitting under a tree. The apple fell, and then he found out that there is a attraction happens in the center of the earth. We all know all that. He just brought out what is already there in the universe. But who created that?
Right.
So we are going one step further.
Right.
That as Ishvara, he, you can say that Brahma ji ने law बनाया, कुछ भी बोल दो, या तो ब्रह्मा जी बोलो, या भगवान बोलो, या consciousness बोलो, Maya bolo, whatever you want to say, there are certain laws that are in practice. And now he's talking from that perspective that those laws will get messed up. And he's telling laws खाली बाहर भी नहीं होते हैं, internal world में भी law है. That's the point he's bringing.
Well, I can understand for the party, how it's functioning, and it's because of that, Yeah, but I was just trying to relate for myself.
Yeah, he's bringing the psychological aspect already. And that's why he gave a hint of it. That look, psychologically also there are laws. And the way I look at that, way I understood, and somebody can, add or comment, that psychological meaning, it is connected with our swadharma then. Because Arjun had a certain qualities. Valor, strength and training, and born in the Kshatriya family, and that's the job he loved. Everybody knows. जब उस धनुर्धारी का आता तो सबसे पहले अर्जुन का ही नाम आता था ना, धनुष बाण तो हमेशा रखता था. और यहाँ पर जब जॉब करने का टाइम आया तभी वो बैठ गया. I don't want to do it. That's why he has to bring that in. That look, so your psychological makeup is made up like this. You are fit for this job. You are given this job because you are fit for it.
Okay, got it. I think I make the connection. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anybody else? Anilji, you have something?
Yeah, is he also saying that this admixture of races, that no job is above or below any other job?
Oh, definitely. That is absolutely throughout. And we don't even have to think of Krishna Bhagwan saying it. Just look at our own society. Agar tomorrow garbage men go on the strike, हम सबका problem शुरू हो जाएगा. So every job has a role.
Right.
And together, that's why that psychological law is so important. And that's why swadharma, अगर सभी ने अपना स्वधर्म करना शुरू किया ना, it will be स्वर्ग, राम राज्य हो जाएगा. But the reason नहीं होता है because हम लोग copy करते हैं दूसरे का. And अभी ये आएगा, in this chapter only it will come, that your own duty, Krishna Bhagwan will say, is better to die doing your own duty than to copy somebody else, because you will be always fearful. किसी और का काम ले लो तो हम लोग ठीक से तो कर पाते नहीं हैं. किसी को शो ऑफ करने के लिए या वो पैसे कमाने के लिए ले लिया वो काम, and we are always miserable. But if we do something that is psychologically in tune with what we do, तो कोई फ्री में भी करोगे आप वो काम, इतना आपको मजा आएगा, तो उसके बाद तो prosperity होगी, because that your job will be the best. So that's where it's coming from, that every job has a role, because together we make that society. True.
And I have one more paragraph in my book.
You can read that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because that connects to the next one.
Yeah. Suppose on the other hand, you urgent think, or for that matter, any other man thinks, that one who has achieved this goal, self-realization, even he should work for the welfare of others. All for himself, he may have nothing more to achieve again.
So remember, ये वाली बात उन्होंने पहले भी बोल दी कि समझो तुम कह रहे हो ठीक है मुझे तो सब कुछ मिल गया, सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन, अब मेरे को क्या जरूरत है, now I can chill on the beach, you know. He's saying no, you can't work for Lok Sangraha, you know. So that's what is coming. So any other question on this particular one? Otherwise I can chant and say some points about the next one, and then we can read.
I can say something.
हाँ बोलो.
So in my book, all this is already there, that God is working ceaselessly in all the three worlds. And they also said this about this four castes. They say when we are born, you know, and we identify at birth as the body identity, and so that caste is known as Shudra. And then when we come to know when we realize a little bit, then we know the world of duality. And after we are initiated by the Guru, and we learned become the wise, and we become spiritual, then we become Vaishya, our caste. And then when we fight the senses and we rise to the higher thing, then we become the Kshatriya, and eventually when we get God realized, then we become the Brahman,
yes.
Yeah, so we become the Brahmin. So that's what he's saying. And then in olden days, these things were interchangeable. It's only the priest later on said that no, the Shudra has to be Shudra and all that. And they're saying, so when you are actually initiated by a spiritual man, then you remove all your caste. Actually, your own identity, your name, everything is removed, and they give you a new name. That means like a new birth. So there's no caste system at all when you get initiated by a spiritual guru. So that's why all these gurus change name also.
Yes, because they call it Dvija. Dvija means second birth. Means they're what you're saying. So yeah, those are very good points, and they usually come later on, but here because it's mentioned, so that's good. So basically it's like each one has the capacity to change your caste. That's what you're saying.
So the goal of all men should be to get away from the material state and then try to become
go to the Brahmana level. True.
So that's how we come from the Shudra stage of birth to the higher state of
that's one way of looking at it, definitely, and that is a very valid, that hey, we are all born. And that's why in that verse which is going to come in chapter 4, some of them read it that way, because Sanskrit language is such, you can have 2-3 different meanings. Some of them read it that way, that everybody is born as a Shudra and then it is your spiritual journey. And the other way is you can change your caste in a sense, but it takes a lot of hard work. It's not like tomorrow I wake up and I'm going to become a Brahmin. No way, Jose, because I have to change the whole makeup of my mind. But what the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is, he's saying you can keep that psychological makeup and keep doing the job, get better and better in it, and through that job you can get self-realization. You don't need to change your swadharma. That's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, that and there are many Puranic stories, and all of you may be knowing that story of usko kya bolte hai, Vyad wali story, the guy who used to sell meat, he was a self-realized soul. So koi bolega ki how can that be? Because he was born in those days, whichever family you are born in, that's the job you do. So he happened to be born in a family that used to shikar karke aur meat bechta tha. So
and you don't know his previous life what he was. So he must have done so much punya in his previous life to attain the self-realization.
What point I was trying to make, that whatever duty you have, you can reach from that platform, you can reach the highest. So that's a very, very interesting thing of Bhagavad Gita. Okay.
And why do we want to think we have to improve? Because you are saying now one is superior to other. But according to this, everyone has their own task.
No, wait a
There
minute.
was
I think you're
superior and
confusing. Go ahead, Joe, if you have a point. But I think you have some confusion.
No, I just meant that what Sneh was saying was you can move from one to another to another to another. But really, what they're saying is they're classifying based on the action you do what you are. But all four, within their limitations, what they do is okay. And they are all considered essential and equal. So it's not like one is superior to another.
I think what
Not
Sneha
the
is saying.
superior. You can do your own task, but you can also evolve mentally. That's how you become spiritually evolved.
I think that's what the point I was going to say, that Joe, she's talking about the mental evolving. So because there are two aspects, one is the physical and the worldly things we do, that it can stay according to the psychological, but mentally you evolve, and what she's talking about is the mental aspect. That makes it clear then. That, hey, mentally I have to, and becoming a balanced person, because a Brahman is supposed to be a balanced person, not get phased by this or that. So everybody, whatever job you are doing, mentally we have to evolve.
Because I read this one book by Shankaracharya, the one who is no more. He died at the age of 95. And basically he described all the four castes, what is required of them. I don't think I can ever become a Brahman based on that. I mean,
Why do you need to?
4 in the morning, you have to do all kinds of stuff. And I don't think many are Brahmins, if you think that way. So there are very strict rules laid down for what you are.
No, I think that, we should not take it, how do I explain it? These castes are not put in a box. Okay?
No, I never said
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So everybody can evolve mentally, everybody should evolve. But what Krishna Bhagavan is saying, that for our society, there is certain things that because of my psychological makeup, it's very easy for me to do. Like Vaishyas, businessmen, that's what they love to do. And but what Sneha was talking about, so there are two parallel things going over here. One is, your daily duties and all, and one is your mind. Mind में हम सबको वो ब्राह्मण की तरफ जाना पड़ेगा, because not from the worldly duty, what you are saying, कि भाई 4 बजे उठो, ये करो, वो करना, nothing of that sort. But एक mental balance and clarity and वो सब लाना पड़ेगा हमको. That's what it is. So it is like a...
I can give an example by a story. There was I think in one temple there was someone, the god gave one thali, which would turn to gold by a self-realized person or by a very spiritual person. So everybody in the land, started touching that plate, but it didn't turn into gold. Even then the king also tried, and then also it didn't turn into gold. Then there was a woodcutter or something in the forest, and he had just, he had his food with him, and then I think there was a person who came to ask him for food. So he gave him all his food, but that was actually God who had come to him. And, whatever he had, he just gave it selflessly, and he remained hungry. So then he also went to the temple, and then he was praying and going out, and all the people said, why don't you pick up the thing? He said, no, I'm so poor. I don't know anything. I'm such a simple person. I'm not a spiritual person. They said, no, you pick it up. So he picks up the thali and it becomes gold. So this is like, you can be in any situation in life, but if you have a golden heart, then, then you are self-realized.
That is the whole point.
So I think
actually, to be most happy, just leave the world as is. Don't try to change it. So you adjust yourself to whatever you are. Then you'll be really happy.
That's what the whole thing of Bhagavad Gita is, that, you change yourself. It's a self-realization is a very internal journey.
Right.
It has nothing to do with outside world. But, outside people, they may, like, as an example, they may look at some self-realized person and say, oh, if he can do it, I can do it too. So that's a different way he will change. But they're self-realized people जाके थोड़ी बोलते हैं कि भाई, सभी बन जाओ self-realized. अभी आएगा कि how those people function. They actually go among the market people and they sit with them and they do the job, slowly changing their mind and, teaching them. Not suddenly going and telling everybody, hey, So those things are there. So I think that it will get clarified. Don't worry about caste thing too much right now, because the detail is coming further. Okay. Yeah, Vandana, you have something?
I'm Vivek.
Oh, hello, Vivek. Hari Om.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine.
I have got one very practical question or practical issue. As this caste system is going on, or what is Varna system is going on, I believe that Indian society has suffered lot from this caste system, which created touchable, untouchable, Brahmin, Shudra, etc. What happened practically? To whom we consider non-touchable, untouchable, they were left behind, and other religions came and they tried to convince them, you are nobody in this Indian society. Why don't you come in our religion?
Yeah, can I just interrupt you for a second, Vivek ji?
Conversion you can find only from Indian society into another religion, but you have rare example who adopt Indian culture. So practically all this theory is okay, but practically Indian society has suffered a lot from